Hello everyone, welcome to another video in the Strategic Management for Managers series. In this video, we will be learning about strategy in the global context. By the end of this video, I hope to help you in understanding why businesses globalize, the global business environment, analyzing the global environment, the strategies that are adopted by organizations while they are globalizing, how a business can globalize, the EPRG framework, as well as what global supply chain means. So, organizations throughout the world, whether it be a small organization like your nearby retail shop, or a little bit bigger one like maybe More or Reliance Fresh, or a group like the Tatas or things like that, even the entire Reliance Group Industries, or um, some organizations like Apple or Sony or Toyota, Hyundai, organizations like that. Any level of organization, any business, they do not function in a void, right? It is not that there is this one organization and its customers, nobody else in their world. It doesn't happen like that. They are surrounded by many forces which collectively creates an environment for the businesses, right? And therefore it becomes very important for any business, whether it be domestic or global, to understand the environment in which it is operating. Let us look at why a business would choose to globalize, right? Definitely, when suppose, let's say, take a small business, any organization, like the first example that comes to my mind is of Good Night. Good Night is a brand that is familiar to everyone throughout India, right? So Good Night actually started off as a very small sole proprietorship based in Kerala, and um, it has now reached a national level recognition, right? And soon I hope that they would definitely be planning for globalizing. Now, from a sole proprietorship to a national level company, naturally, and maybe further beyond also, why do companies expand? It might be because of looking for additional sales opportunities, so that as your sales increases, your firm's margin increases. It could be for an opportunity to earn a return on their larger investments, enhance their market shares, extend their product life cycle. You must be familiar with the product life cycle by now, I hope. If not, leave a comment down below, and I will help you in understanding what product life cycle is. Securing the key resources using what you can say, lower costs, at lower cost, as well as using lower cost labor. Like right now, we all know that it is from China where most of the electronic components are either assembled or manufactured. Why? Low cost, right? So one of the reasons why a company would want to set up their plant in China would definitely be to tap in their low cost labor resources over there, right? So if you look at phones, especially I guess Sony phones, I had one phone previously, I guess it was Sony Ericsson only, where they would have, there was a clause where it is the parts were manufactured, I guess, in Germany or Japan somewhere, but it is assembled in China. Why was it assembled in China? Especially, definitely the lower labor cost, right? So these are some of the reasons why a business would choose to globalize itself. And how do businesses globalize? By crossing their domestic borders. So this international expansion, it increases the coordination and distribution cost, right? Definitely. When you have a plant in China, or let's say, let us take a small, maybe a fashion store, a fashion designer brand based in Kerala, they might have their manufacturing unit set up somewhere in Tamil Nadu or in West Bengal, where they would get the materials for cheap, right? Raw materials as well as labor for cheap. But what happens with that expansion is that now there is an increased need for coordination between their unit in Kerala with their unit in their retail unit in Kerala with their production units in maybe Coimbatore or some place in Tamil Nadu or some place in Kolkata. Right? So there is a coordination. There is a requirement for increased coordination. At the same time, whatever you're producing in Kolkata or whatever you're producing in Coimbatore or in Tamil Nadu, it has to be transported to Kerala, right? So the distribution cost is also increasing there. So managing a global enterprise, definitely it entails problems where we have to overcome these sorts of trade barriers, the logistic costs, cultural diversity, and all sorts of things. And it is also fraught with both political as well as economic risk. You think about Kerala and Tamil Nadu itself. Okay, there are differences. There might be difference in the political ideologies, the political parties, and how we have also come across, right? Definitely, people in Kerala, we have always, most of the time, faced shortages, especially in vegetables. Price goes up. Why? Because um, there is no more. We are not getting supplies from Tamil Nadu, right? And we start thinking, uh, mm, almost I guess every house in Kerala there's a good amount, ample amount of backyard even now, especially in my area because it is a village. People definitely do farming there, but still we are short of vegetables. What is this? We still need our rice and vegetables and everything to come from Tamil Nadu. That is the state of Kerala right now, right? So there is political as well as economic risks associated with globalization. At the same time, it comes with a lot of other benefits as well. So now that we have decided maybe to nationalize or globalize, we have to think about the global business environment, right? So with the business going global, the business environment will also expand to the global level, and the global environment will cover all the forces which not only relies in the local and national territory of the organization, but also the factors which the organization may have to encounter within the foreign land. And it also definitely includes the interaction between the forces of the local, the national, as well as the international environment. So naturally, the global environment, it will cover all the forces which are not just when you talk about the territory wise, the demographics wise, sorry, the yeah, the geography wise, but also our internal as well as external environment is also expanding, right? So the internal environment, it includes the resources, the assets and liabilities of the organization. So an organization can definitely gain competitive advantage in international market on the basis of its unique resources as well as its capabilities. And when we talk about forces outside the organization, it can change the future course of action and decide the success and failure of the organization. It is important for any organization to assess its external environment, that is the political, legal, the socio-cultural, the economic, the environmental, the technical, technological, all these factors we have to measure, and we have to measure its impact on our industry, on our organization, adapt to the changes, and consistently we have to monitor the situation in order to sustain in the international markets. If we are not quick to adapt to or respond to the external environmental factors that affect our business in the global market, definitely we will lose in the global market, and we'll have to we have to shrink back into the national level and suffer losses, right? So, when we talk about the environmental analysis in the global context, it will involve scanning all the different environments of the different nations before we prepare a strategy, right? Suppose, let's take the example of good night trial itself. Suppose it is deciding to expand globally, let us say hypothetically, and you are the manager who's responsible. What would be your strategy then? In order to formulate your strategy, first you need to understand um, which what you can say, which country would be the best to expand globally, right? So let us say take the nearby locations. We have Pakistan, we have Afghanistan, we have Nepal, we have China, right? We have Bhutan, we have where else? Maybe we can have Africa, we can have the Middle East, right? Uh, Places like that. Now we have to think about the environment of each of these places. Now you think about Pakistan, okay, it is not as different as from India, okay, even Bhutan or Myanmar, that they are not very different, right? From the Indian climates. Nepal, it is not so different, drastically different. But if you are expanding into the Middle East, you're expanding into a desert area where, though there might be mosquitoes, the problem for of having mosquitoes is not as, what you can say, critical as maybe in India, right? So as a first step, maybe I would be better off expanding to, say, Pakistan or maybe Nepal or places surrounding India where the climatic conditions are not that extreme, than maybe as first step moving into Dubai, right? Maybe there are mosquitoes, definitely there might be mosquitoes, but I don't think a mosquito problem is that crucial in Dubai, right? So if, as in charge of expanding the mosquito repellents of Good Night. My first step is to expand into say Dubai or the Sahara Desert. Okay, it's not a great strategy, right? So, the global environment scanning, it should include the critical analysis of the global trends and market segmentation for the organization in order to develop strategies for effectively penetrating the already established international markets or create a new global market for them. Now, there are several ways for scanning the environment, like we have the BCG consulting, SWOT analysis, value chain analysis, then we have Potter's 5 force model, we have McKinsey's 7S model, we have the PESTEL analysis. Now, McKinsey 7S model, we have you might have learned it already in business environment and a few other subjects as well, especially if you are going through IGNOU MBA, definitely in strategic management being in your second semester, definitely you would have learned about McKinsey 7S model in your first semester. PESTEL analysis, SWOT analysis, again, these are things that you might have learned in your first semester, especially in your business environment subject, right? So these are all the different tools, analysis tools, which we apply even for analyzing our global market environment as well. Now, the environmental analysis process can be broadly divided into this 4-step process. That is, first we identify the factor, then we select the factors that are relevant for our strategy or our strategy formulation. We select the variables for measuring these factors, that is called variable analysis, and we determine the best position based on SWOTs. SWOT is nothing but strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat, right? That is, we define or determine the best strategic positioning we could have. You can think of it as if the global environment is like your football playground or any sports playground. Your strategic positioning would be determining the best position at which you can say place. Let us think about it as maybe in cricket, and if you are deciding to field, depending upon your individual teammates, like maybe Dhoni or Virat or Sanju, depending upon these people's strength and weaknesses as the team captain, where best in the field would you place them, right? Maybe Dhoni you would keep just behind in the wickets, right, to catch the wickets, just behind the batsman, right? I'm not a very confident in the, so pardon the terminologies if it is different, if I get the words wrong. So in case you are liking the content of our channel, consider subscribing so that these can reach much more people than like you. So let us look at PESTEL analysis, which is one of the important environmental analysis techniques which we will be employing. So PESTEL actually stands for what you can say 6 factors of environmental analysis, that is political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. So through PESTEL analysis, generally we analyze our external environment. At the same time, through SWOT analysis, we analyze our internal environment. So after performing this environmental analysis, as a manager, we need to develop the strategic alternatives that can be employed to make our business global. If we are thinking about our Good Night example, as its strategic manager, you should be after environmental analysis, both PESTEL as well as SWOT, you should be at a position to develop the alternatives for putting Good Night in the global market, right? Mosquito repellent product of Good Night in the global market. Now, the organization has to now decide how they want to internationalize their business. For that, we can think of the main 3 strategic options for going international. First is multi-domestic. That is, the organization will decentralize the operational decisions and activities to each nation in which it is operating, and it will customize its products and services to each market. So, when you talk about globalizing Good Night brand, so in Good Night will have a lot of different products under its hood, right? So it might have a jumbo fast card. It has mosquito repellent creams. It has mosquito repellent spray. It has it has its own refill packs, it has that coil, jumbo coil is there, it has the what you can say that the device which you plug and then you put that mosquito repellent this thing in it, right? I forgot what it's you. I hope you understood, right? That one bottle will be there, right? And you plug it onto that one device which will put out the vapors for you rather than a coil, right? So maybe your maybe for say the market which I choose, depending upon that, maybe I will choose to rather than like yeah. So in Indian market, let us say we have the mosquito repellent coils. When I'm globalizing, let's say to Pakistan, maybe I might go for mosquito repellent sprays over there rather than coils. Maybe because when I checked for their the environmental analysis over there, I might have found out that the people in, let's say, Pakistan, or maybe let's say Nepal, okay, they were much more into, they more preferred what you can say sprays to burning coils, for example. Okay, so what I'm doing over here is I am trying to customize my products and services based on the market preferences in each of my markets where I am operating. That is multi-domestic. Global is when the organization offers standardized products and uses integrated operations. Like for example, whether you buy Apple iPhone from US or from India, you get the same iPhone. I cannot say the same for Samsung, because certain Samsung phones, US market they get the EQUINOX chips, and Indian markets we get Snapdragon. So that is why, so that is an example of multi-domestic again, right? And then this is globalized, where it is a standardized products. Transnational is when the organization seeks the best of both multi-domestic and global strategies by globally integrating operations while tailoring products and services to local market. The best example of a transnational company in this regard you can think of is Toyota, or maybe Hyundai, Suzuki. So they Volkswagen, automobile markets, especially automobile companies, especially I would say, because the let's say Toyota, they have the urban cruiser, they have the Swift. No, Swift is not from Toyota, right? Things like that, which is specifically created for the Indian market, for the Indian roads, which you might not have it exactly the same in another market which they are operating, right? So but at the same time you can be assured of the Toyota quality, right? So there is a standardization, at the same time there is a what you can say a customization per the local market. So that is what transnational is all about. So I hope you understood the three different types of global expansion strategy alternatives here: multi-domestic, global, transnational. Now, while we are entering into global markets, the first step is to choose the mode of entering. Like, how would you enter that market the first? What would be your first step over there? Okay, now there are several modes of entering into the foreign market as well. Like an organization may select a mode of entering into the foreign market depending upon its risk taking capacity and whatever information it is available for that about that prospective market to the organization, right? So you can either start exporting your products there, right? Or maybe you can start with a licensing. Maybe you can go for a joint venture, like what Suzuki did when they got into a joint venturing with Maruti to create Maruti Suzuki. Or you can have a direct investment. Now, what is the EPRG framework? It is also concerned with the four strategic orientations which an organization can adopt when it comes to managing the international business of this organization. So, EPRG framework is actually an acronym for ethnocentric orientation, polycentric orientation, regiocentric, and geocentric orientations. Now, let us look at each of these different orientation. Okay, so when an organization is ethnocentric, then it means that the entire process of managing the global business is based on the domestic nation of the organization, and the organization assumes the foreign markets as secondary markets. Like the best example which comes to my mind is what you can say Apple. So the entire terms and conditions of how Apple sells its products or does its marketing strategy, it is based on its what you can say it's based on the US principles, right? US is its primary market, every other market is secondary to it. Polycentric is when the process of managing the global business is based in the different foreign markets where an organization wants to sell their products or services. So, like for example, if you think about any MNC, okay, the way they operate in India won't be the way they operate in the Middle East or the way they operate in Europe, or even within Europe, the way they operate in France, Germany, or UK, right? It will be different. So, that is polycentric orientation. In each area or in each nation or in each market, they have a way of organizing or managing that is the best suited for that particular area. That is polycentric orientation. Then we have regiocentric orientation, where the entire global market we divide into different regions, like South Asian region, European region, American region, like that. And all our plants or all our locations or all our business units in that particular region gets managed in one way, whereas if it is in a different union, it gets managed in a different way. So that is regiocentric, the name itself, regio, so regional centric. Okay. Then we have geocentric orientation, where the entire world is depicted as one single market, and whether it be in its own home country or another country, the management is going to be exactly the same. Okay, so that is geocentric. So ethnocentric, ethnic, that is the word that you have to think about. It's ethnicity, so from where it comes from, that is what dictates the rest of the things. Okay, polycentric is poly, many, right? So wherever it is, based on that. Regiocentric, again you are dividing it regionally, and geocentric is whole world is one. Okay, so that is EPRG: ethnocentric, polycentric, regiocentric, and geocentric. So far in this video, we have covered about global markets, its analysis, and the various frameworks. Now, let us come to understanding the global supply chains and its competitiveness. When we decide to expand, definitely our logistic related costs, distribution costs, storage costs, any and everything related to the logistics and management, it increases, right? So logistic capabilities are what makes or mars our global operations, right? If our logistic capabilities are top notch, up to the mark, then we will be able to have a seamless integration between our various global markets. But if it is lacking in some place, then definitely there will be a problem for you to link your supply regions to your demand markets, right? Because it involves, so this logistic capability, the supply chains, they involve very highly coordinated international flow of goods, information, cash, and work. And setting up a global supply chain that supports the producing and selling of products in multiple nations at the right cost as well as service level is actually a very difficult task. But if we can get it right, it has many benefits, right? Because all the benefits which we can derive out of expanding globally is all hinged upon this global supply chain and logistic management. Therefore, optimizing our global supply chain operation can cut the delivery time, costs as well as costs drastically, and improve the global competitiveness of our products with that of competitors. So, a very smart supply chain planning may result in locating facilities where they make the most logistical sense, while we can save on taxes and other various costs. So, it is very much better than simply locating where labor is the cheapest. But we should also think about where taxes and other costs may not be the most favorable. Like for example, a particular country, the cost of labor might be very, very less. But setting up a plant over there or a logistic facility over there might still have a good amount of cost because of various taxes and their political or legal policies, right? The legal environment might not be favorable. So we have to, it goes by saying that we have to consider all the PESTEL factors while we decide upon the best place to set our logistic chain. That is where we set our storehouse, what mode of transportation or distribution channel do we choose to move our products from our warehouse to the markets and ultimately to our customers. That is what supply chain means, right? Produce, store, get it to your customers, and the cycle continues, right? So that is it for this video. I hope you understood the globalization factors, or the globalization point of our strategy in strategic management process. If you did, consider subscribing. Leave this video a thumbs up. If you have any doubts related to any topics, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. So thank you very much. Until I see you in the next video. Bye bye.